I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, March the 25th, 2016. A teenage Palestinian girl was arrested this morning after she tried to stab IDF soldiers in Jerusalem. Israel police said the incident occurred in the French Hill neighborhood when the girl, coming from the neighboring Arab neighborhood of Isawiya, approached a unit of border police officers next to a gas station. She pulled out a knife and started slashing at them. The troops were able to overpower the girl and detain her for questioning. There were no injuries reported in the incident. The IDF soldier who yesterday shot a Palestinian terrorist who was already incapacitated is reportedly being investigated on suspicion of murder. As we reported to you yesterday, the incident occurred when two Palestinian terrorists attacked an IDF soldier in Hebron, moderately wounding him. The terrorists were then shot by other IDF forces. One of those terrorists is then shown in a video being shot in the head at point-blank range by an IDF soldier while the terrorist was already on the ground. That soldier was suspended, then arrested as the IDF began an investigation. The soldier claims there was suspicion that the terrorist was armed with an explosive and still posed a threat. And today, another video gives some support to that claim, showing medical staff at the scene discussing that same possible threat. The IDF continues to investigate the incident, which it called very grave and not reflective of the IDF's values, a sentiment that was echoed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon. The Board of Regents of the University of California voted this week to adopt a set of principles condemning anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic forms of anti-Zionism. The principles against intolerance state that anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic forms of anti-Zionism, and other forms of discrimination have no place at the University of California. The principles that were originally submitted to the board back in January included a broader declaration calling anti-Zionism as a whole a form of discrimination. However, the Regents Board modified that to anti-Semitic forms of anti-Zionism. The principles were still lauded by Jewish organizations, including the Simon Wiesenthal Center, who said by repudiating odious anti-Semitic hate, bullying, and harassment, the UC Regents has drawn a line against the world's oldest hate. The American Jewish Committee welcomed the Regents' adoption as well. Director of the AJC's San Francisco branch, Sarah Persitz, said, "We also applaud the Regents for pointing out that some individuals and groups pursuing a virulently anti-Israel agenda on UC campuses have crossed a threshold into discrimination against Jewish students." Bnai Brith International expressed its outrage this week over the nomination and appointment of Michael Link as the United Nations Human Rights Council's new special rapporteur on the Palestinian territories. Link is a Canadian labor lawyer who Bnai Brith notes has consistently voiced his own anti-Israel views. Bnai Brith said this position again shows the institutionalization of bigotry at the United Nations, adding that the post itself is inherently discriminatory. The organization said Link's record of bias against Israel only confirms their view of the rapporteur role and of the UNHRC, which Bnai Brith said sadly contributes to defamation and tensions, not peace and human rights in Palestinian-Israeli relations. Jewish comedian, actor, and writer Garry Shandling has died. Shandling wrote for several TV sitcoms like Welcome Back, Kotter, and then brought his unique style of comedy to his own show, It's Garry Shandling's Show, and later The Larry Sanders Show. LAPD were called to Shandling's home in Los Angeles for a medical emergency yesterday, but there has been no official word on cause of death. Shandling was 66. Thousands of Christian pilgrims marked Good Friday in Jerusalem's Old City today, making their way along the ancient Via Dolorosa, or Way of the Cross, through its 14 stations. Israeli security forces were on high alert in the area, and Israeli police spokesman Mickey Rosenfeld said a large number of security forces had been specially deployed to offer added safety and protection. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS, Friday, March the 25th, Live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue. At 7:30, Shabbat Shirah with the late Jules Frankel. At 8:30, Saturday Night Live writer Alan Zwiebel speaks at the 92nd Street Y. At 9, it's the film The Benny Zinger Show. And at 10, Kulturfest with the late Theodore Bikel. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, March the 25th, 2016. We wish our Christian viewers a meaningful Good Friday and Easter. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.